Okay, so two friends make a bet that they can make one house the talk of the town in the 1800s.
Yeah, it was 1810, and a dude told his friend, he said, hey, I bet you $100 I could get everyone in the city of London talking about this one house.
The way that he did it makes us talk about it literally 200 years later. So it worked.
I think he won the bet.
And if he invested that $100, it would have been worth a lot more now.
Yeah.
And a bonus story of the time that a Cartoon Network promo shut down the city of Boston.
Yeah, it was 3 booms.
I hate that more than anything in the world. If you're just finding our show, it doesn't get better. It's a comedy show where we learn different stuff each week. This is Things I Learned Last Night. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, man.
What's up?
Hey, have you ever heard of the Berners Street Hoax?
The Berners Street Hoax?
Yeah, but it's not that kind of burner. It's BERN.
Okay.
Berners Street Hoax.
Sure.
Have you ever heard of that?
Yes.
Okay.
Because does it have anything to do with the Berners Street Bears?
No, I think you're thinking of the Bernstein Bears.
Sorry, I think you're thinking of the Berners Street Bears.
Don't gaslight me right now.
That's absolutely. They were called the Berners Street Bears.
Don't gaslight me.
They've
right
always
now.
been called
Get out of here.
the Berners Street Bears. There's that. I mean, like, okay. I mean, what What is this? A Mongolia effect?
I hate that you're.
Hey, I just want you guys to know, you can probably hear it a little bit. For the next 3 weeks, I got a little bit of a cold. So,
yeah, for the last 3 weeks, we had a gnat problem.
Yeah, but for the next 3 weeks, no, the last 3 weeks we didn't. We were in here.
Oh, yeah. There was no problem.
For the next 3 weeks, I've got this. I woke up every day for the next 3 weeks.
just so cold.
Freaking congested. So I'm doing my best.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be mouth laughing today. I don't know if you guys have heard people mouth laugh before.
Do it.
It's a little jarring. I've been doing it. I laughed when I said Mongolia.
Give us another test run.
It's a weird thing.
What's the difference? What's the different?
Well, I'm not going to do the other one.
Show me the other one. Why can't you do it? Because your nose is clogged?
I'm congested, yeah.
Do you laugh out your nose?
I laugh out my orifices.
That's a little weird. I don't like the way you said that. Anyways.
Do you think it's called a face because you can't spell orifice without face, right?
Yeah, you actually totally can.
Spell orifice.
ORPHEUS, I'm pretty sure.
No. That's Morpheus.
Oh, I think I'm missing a orifice. Hold on, let's see. How is this? Ah, dang it. There's a mythical creature character, Orpheus. Orifice? Maybe you can spell it with. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, no, we're both wrong.
Oh, how do you spell orifice?
ORIFICE.
Oh, well, that sucks.
Yeah.
That's how I spell face. Sorry, I'm just trying to save face right now.
Okay, I hate you for that. Okay, no, have you heard of Theodore Hook?
Berners Street. Okay, Theodore Hook, who? Teddy Hook?
Teddy Hook. Yeah, I like that. Teddy Hook.
He was a boat captain?
No, he actually had nothing to do with captains or hooks except for his last name. Theodore Hook, he was born in September 22nd, 1788.
Okay.
So,
so pretty early.
Yeah. He's an English man of letters. Don't know. Sure. I mean, that just means, I guess, an intellectual person who engages
He had a letter jacket.
Yeah.
That's what that means.
That's a man of letters.
Oh, that's a man of letters over there.
Then later they shorted it to Letterman.
No, I don't want to go on a date with you. My boyfriend's a man of letters.
He's known for a couple things.
It's crazy how I'm the sick one, but you're the one that every week goes.
It's my deviated septum.
Your deviant septum.
Okay. No, so
I'll pay to get that fixed.
Okay, I would actually really appreciate that. That would be a great gift.
You're welcome. I would do that for you.
Yeah, I'll never go to the appointment.
Birthday?
I have a habit. Here's what I want to do for you, actually. Sure. This is my new thing I'm going to do for you. Is I'm going to graciously accept any gift you give me, but I'm never going to cash it in, deviated
because I
septum.
did give you
The flight.
the flight gift.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I actually thought about that.
Actually,
the other
what
day.
you're gonna do is you're just gonna accumulate all of them
And then one day,
cash them in all at
on the
once.
same day. All right, let's get the
You're like,
deviated
I'm ready to
septum.
do that. And I'm
Get
like,
the
that's
deviated
like
septum fixed.
$15,000, dude. And you're like, yeah,
I'll get the septum fixed, and then we'll go for the flight.
yeah.
I'll come to the flight. My face is like swollen. I can barely open my eyes, and I'll be like, "But he said I can." It's my birthday gift.
It's my birthday gift.
This is my 27th birthday gift.
to take a exploratory flight and then to look at the CFI and go, this is my birthday gift. He's got no context.
This is my birthday.
They got no context for what you're talking about. You just walk out there and you go, this is my birthday gift. That's crazy.
So Teddy Hook,
Right.
He was known for a few things. One, he was a composer. He spent a year at the Harrow School, and then he went to the University of Oxford, and he made symphonies and stuff. That was something like, and it wasn't like he wasn't no Mozart.
No one does that anymore. You know, people
Make
are
symphonies?
freaking making garage band
No,
beats.
people-
Write some freaking symphonies.
People
man.
make symphonies, but you just never hear about them. Nobody cares about symphonies
I hear
anymore.
them.
I mean, hey, honestly,
What?
should you make a symphony and make it like a, what's that guy's name? Pluth video where he's like, what if it was like a,
What if it was like a
and you do the whole symphony, but make it in GarageBand?
yeah, that sounds good. And then we'll have the timpani come in.
That's a funny bit.
And the trombones. You know? And this is the part where we're telling the story of the yes, man. Man. And then what if there was a light switch?
It's a great, I mean, they didn't have, yeah. So anyways,
Teddy
Teddy was
have
doing
garage band.
Yeah. Teddy was doing symphonies. His dad was so proud of him. His dad was into symphonies too. I don't know if his dad was as successful as he was in symphony-ing. But his dad was so proud of him for being
the
a
family
symphony
hobby.
man. Yeah. Coincidentally, he this is a weird thing. He is the person who received the world's first postcard, and we don't know this for sure, but people are pretty confident he's also the person who sent the world's first postcard.
Okay.
But we don't know for sure.
Why? What?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't
What
really
does that
know.
even mean?
So he was the first person to receive a postcard.
I don't say it again.
He went to the mailbox and he dropped the postcard in it,
Okay.
allegedly. And then a couple days later, he came to the mailbox and
But
there's
the
a
mail
postcard
already
in it for him.
existed.
Yeah, mail already existed.
But no one thought, let's just send a picture and write something on the back.
Yeah, everyone was like, you got to put it in an envelope. You got to seal it with the ink or the wax. Sorry.
And then he was like, what if I didn't?
He was like, forget all this stuff. Too many steps.
Sending a postcard is just keto mail. You know what I'm saying? Or it's just the meat. It's just
the
the
meat. We don't need anything else.
Yeah, we don't need all the breading, all the dressings on it.
But not really though, because it's just the meat, but it's also, check out this cool picture of San Francisco.
You know, this is true. Did you know you can mail a coconut, like a full coconut? This is real. You can just mail a coconut. You can paint it. You can just put the address on it. You can stick that in the mail, and they can't freaking stop you. And they'll ship it.
I feel like we need to set up a P.O. box for that now.
You know why I know that is that my mom's best friend lived in Hawaii when they were, now I'm looking back, that was like when they were our age.
Yeah.
And like my mom's best friend just lived in Hawaii because she was my mom's cool friend. Here's my fear. Right now, I'm your cool friend.
You?
And what's that?
You?
Yep. So right now, I'm your cool friend. I don't know if I've seen the rest of them. And my fear is that I'll end up like still being your cool friend in like our 50s. But like I kind of start.
But it's like not the cool
I need
kind
to
of
start
cool
being
anymore.
your investing friend. And I need to start being your saving money friend.
Oh, yeah? Why? Do you think I'm doing dumb stuff? Or you think you're doing dumb stuff?
I'm saying that like by the time we're 50, it won't be cool.
It won't be cool to be cool anymore.
That's what I'm saying.
There comes a point where being cool is childish.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying my mom's best friend's like that. I'm just saying she lived in Hawaii when she was our age, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool.
But living in Hawaii when you're 50 is not cool.
Yes.
Okay, I think I'm tracking with you now.
Okay.
I think I'm tracking.
I do think that there are, so we live in Los Angeles.
Yes.
There are a lot of people
I know
where
exactly
we
what
live
you're saying. Yeah.
who are in their 30s, who spend money and behave and plan their life as if they are 22 years old.
Yeah.
And it's like when they talk about having kids, they talk about that being like 15, 20 years in the future. And you're like, hey, that's 50 for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
that would be pretty old.
That's a long time to wait at that, you know?
And with your diet, you're not going to make it.
At the same time, they're like, oh, I don't want to be old and 50 at my kid's graduation. And you're like, you're past that.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's be honest. You're gonna be. You're gonna be
80 at this point. Like you gotta stink and get it together. Yeah. And but all of our friends in the Midwest at 19 were like, I'm 40. Yeah. So there's a balance.
It's true. Yeah. You want to be in the middle.
Yes.
You want to be in the middle. Yeah.
I feel like that's where we're at.
I feel like we are in a good spot for our lives. I don't think we are behind. I don't think we're ahead.
Thanks for saying that to me, who is dressed like a 6-year-old right now. All that's missing is the little.
Yeah, you're dressed like you brought those. You're dressed like you're on a trip to the zoo and you've got those sunglasses that go up.
Yeah.
That's pretty accurate. I love that.
I have a Thomas the Tank Engine lunchbox.
You brought your lunch to the...
My peanut butter and jelly sandwich this was fancy, not in a Ziploc bag. We're in those little cases, those plastic cases. You know what I'm talking about?
It's it's an Uncrustables, but your mom cut off the crust. Yes. Still, she didn't get it.
She ate it. That's the secret. That's what you get to do when you're a parent. Is that you make the crust. You just cut the crust off at home, and then you get a little snack in the morning.
Yeah, you get to eat a little bit. Okay, so Teddy,
you get to eat a little bit. You know, she had food outside. Anyway, you can mail a coconut. Is how we started. How we got here. And my mom's best friend, when I was growing up, mailed us a coconut from Hawaii.
Did she also mail the potato to your mom?
Don't talk about that. Don't bring that back up. Let's not research that.
Okay.
But it was a full coconut that she had just painted our address on. And
the mail got there. They're like, I guess.
They're like,
we never said no. So I realize we're this far into the episode. We haven't looked at this guy yet. So let's take a look.
Let's see what he looks like.
Here's Teddy.
This guy looks like he postcards himself.
Yeah, this is him. This is him at that point in his life where he's
a painting.
Yeah, because
look at his rosy cheeks.
Yeah, this is
What's that called?
Early 1800s. Rosy cheeks.
What's that condition, Alex? Alopecia?
Alopecia?
Alopecia? Is that what that is? Is that
what that is? Is it
where they have like rosy cheeks? No, alopecia is the hair.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right?
You might be right. I don't know.
My brother's got it where they just get their cheeks get real red.
Oh. Embarrassed? So this is him when he.
You think the artist painting this painting got him just right at the right? He was like, "Are you embarrassed?" The artist was like, "Oh, so anyway, it's been such a good time painting you, and we're almost finished." Also, remember that time in 6th grade when you walked up to Brooke Meredith and you said, "Hey," and she was like, "Have you been following me around all day?" And you're like, "Ha ha ha ha."
Yeah, and then he got all flushed and he was like, "Oh, let me get my rose out."
Like, ooh.
He starts mixing it up. What are you doing?
I'm painting. Yes, I'm so embarrassed. In the early days of this show, we did like affiliate ads where we were like, hey, sign up for Grammarly and use code TILLN and we got like 15 cents. And now we just do Patreon. It's a much better way. It's better for us as creators. It's better for you as listeners. And it's a much more fun way for us to interact. We do monthly hangouts like on Zoom. We just hang out and play games online and get to know each other. It's a really fun time. So, but still use our code TILLN at Grammarly grammarly.com because I think it's still
think it
active.
is still
we might
active.
get like a couple cents from that.
Yeah.
But join us on Patreon because we're having a great time.
Yeah. If you don't, we're going to have to start doing mobile game ads. So that was him when he was like making symphonies and postcarding himself. But this story happens earlier in his life when he was in his late teens, I believe. And
he
Teddy,
looks like the Gerber baby.
Gerber baby all grown up.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he looks like the Gerber baby if you put him on a milk carton in the 1700s of like this is what he might look like now. That's crazy.
So
Alex can't see that though, can he?
no,
Alex
that's
is
great.
just
I love
looking at
that.
the back of the TV like that's funny.
That's a pretty good bit.
Funny stuff.
I bet that's true.
Jaron's never been wrong.
So in 1810, so that would put him, what did I say he was born in?
1788.
Yeah, so that would make him 22.
22.
22. So yeah, so early 20s. He was a little bit of a, I hesitate to use the word degenerate, but kind of a degenerate gambler and a little bit, and he liked playing little practical jokes and bits on people.
Speaking of gambling,
Yeah.
sorry to do so many tangents in this.
Yeah.
But have you looked into the stats on sports gambling?
Like what stats? What do you mean?
I mean, the number of 20-somethings who are bankrupting their parents.
Oh, it's a problem. That's why I remember talking to you when that was on the ballot, and I was like, I don't know how
Honestly,
I feel about it.
I didn't think it was that big of a deal when we were voting on it. I was like, to me, it was like, yeah, it's going to get legalized everywhere. It doesn't make sense for it. Like, there's people who are already traveling cross state lines to go bet other places. Like, but I didn't realize how much of it. Did you know that they can just ban you if you're too good at it?
That would make sense. It's just like a casino.
Yeah, 100%. Like, if you get on the sports apps and you win too much money, they'll just ban you. They'll just be like, nah, never mind.
That's been my biggest concern because we've seen how addictive and dangerous social media is for people. And I'm
so
like, having a casino in your pocket scares me.
Well, they'll use that same algorithm to figure out if you're bad at gambling. Yeah. And then they'll give you suggestions for, that you should play this parlay that's clearly not going to pan out. And so it's like an algorithm that's betting against you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's playing your worst impulses and draining you financially.
Yes. Yeah. It makes me nervous.
It's a little crazy.
And it's becoming it's almost becoming like a social thing. Like it's like to be a Gen Z, like to be a kid in Gen Z right now, you almost kind of have to sports bet. Yeah. Like that's kind of how you
and it's also, but it's the same group of people who were in the GameStonk stuff because that was just gambling.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so this is just feeding that same kind of, and they are strategic with it where they let some people win really big things. Yeah. And then they make sure, isn't it weird how many videos we get online of people who win big things? I think that half of those aren't real, obviously.
Oh, I'm sure.
I think half of them are just like, hey, make a video of you winning $50,000. Yeah. Yeah. Right?
Like an influencer.
And so they post this video.
Yeah.
And so it feeds the idea that you're just one bet away from a huge jackpot that would negate all of your loss. Yep. And then some. Yep. And so then people are just like, well, why would I invest? Why would I save when I can just shoot for that one shot?
I mean, I remember that because I tried DraftKings, I think. It was one of them, FanDuel or DraftKings or whatever, a couple years ago when it first got legalized. I crossed the border and tried it. I was like, this is kind of fun. I'll give it a shot. Border. Yeah, into Kansas. Gave it a shot. And I do remember, I think I was 26, 27. Yeah. But I do remember that feeling because I had a couple decent wins. Like it wasn't crazy, but decent wins. And I remember being like, oh, I threw out a couple dozen bets. Yeah. And I had a couple of them hit big and it made it work. And I remember in my brain being like rationalizing it and being like, oh, this is just a numbers game. If I just do enough of this, then this is worth it. Yep. And that's the trick is like, I mean, it's like a casino. Like the house always wins. It doesn't, you can't win in this game.
It's so wild too. Okay. So I've been watching this documentary on Hulu called Social Studies. Yeah. Okay. And so this is actually pretty crazy. The access that they were given is that they took like 20 teenagers in Poly High School in Los Angeles. Yeah. And had them screen record their phones basically like 24/7. Yeah. And so they could just they were just giving the crew what was on their phone. And so it's following these high schoolers around, and the social media addiction and just integration into their everyday interactions was bonkers to watch.
Really?
And these are like,
is it a series or a single documentary?
there's a couple episodes. It's like a 6-episode series, and each episode talks about a different thing. Because the first episode was talking about how they were all consumed with fame and like the getting likes and comments, which then pushed the girls to post more provocative images, because those are the images that got more likes and got more comments and got more shares.
Yeah.
And so then it just slowly pushed girls who even on camera are saying like, I never dress like that. I would never wear that out in public. I would never do this stuff. But I post it online, I get more likes. Yeah. And like, so they're saying like, and it's pretty wild because like every single teen that we're following, there's one of them who's like one of these TikTok guys who's like, oh, tell me how much your outfit costs. You know, one of those street people or whatever, street interviewers. Yeah. And I mean, he's making a ton of money from doing this on TikTok and Snapchat as a 16-year-old kid. Yeah. And so he's throwing this rager party that the cameras are at. The cameras are at this raging party watching these kids. Crazy. Watching these kids do drugs and drink alcohol. It's like it's literally like Euphoria. Yeah. And a kid ODs. And like they literally, there's other teenagers, the camera people are all just watching this happen. Yeah. The other teenagers are dragging this kid a couple blocks away from the party so they can call 911 to pick him up at the other end down there and not bust the party.
Oh my gosh.
Which is, and
it's like the kids alone, the boys alone or whatever.
And I'm sitting here watching this series. I'm like, where are any of these kids' parents? And then they'll interview the parents and I go, oh, I get it. This makes sense. Makes sense that you guys like this is every single set of parents that I see on this thing. I go, oh, none of these kids have parents. Yeah. It's crazy. Like one of the kid who does the TikTok, Snapchat stuff. His mom worked for Lindsay Lohan or whatever. And she hates that, by the way. They'll go. He goes, yeah, she worked for Lindsay Lohan. She goes, well, I was a business partner with Lindsay Lohan. And you're like, shut the heck up. Shut up, Lisa. All right, you were her personal assistant. You weren't her business partner.
Shut up, Lisa Lohan. You were just her sister.
But like, dude, it's like legitimately insane what they're following these kids, and they followed one girl who made a friend through Discord, who lives in DC. Yeah. And so she convinces her mom that she wants to go visit one of the schools in DC and go on a trip to DC and sightsee the city. Yeah. And then meets up with this boy at the mall. They go to the mall and she's like, I'm gonna go try something on. The boy is in the dressing room.
This is the first time I've ever met in real life. That's wild.
She's 15.
That's wild.
I feel insane.
And the camera people are there.
I straight up feel insane when I'm watching this, and I go, I thought that high schoolers like this only existed in movies. Because in my small town, nobody would do that crap. Yeah. We weren't stupid.
Well, I think the world has changed.
We were stupid, but we weren't like. It's I think the world's that they're different posting. Now, yeah.
But
all I'm saying is like there were several kids in this thing who all of them say they're going to be rich one day. Yeah. All of them. Yeah. And so that sports betting stuff feeds that idea that you're just one hit away, or if you could become famous, then your life will be easy and you'll just make money and do nothing all day. Yep. And that feeds that. Yep. The idea that exists.
Yep.
But if you get too rich, you get shot in broad daylight in New York. God. So,
I mean, it's an interesting era we live in, huh? Where eat the rich, but also I want to be the rich.
That's crazy. Yeah. For real.
Yeah. It's insane.
But at the same time, right? I don't even want to be a billionaire. I just want to be able to have a medical emergency and not bankrupt myself for the next 10 years. That's it.
Yeah,
It's not like I'm not shooting for the stars.
Yeah. I don't want to own half of California. I am shooting
for eating out once a week.
I'm shooting for getting the bill at Applebee's and not being surprised.
And not even looking at it.
Yeah, just slide it back on and
like, you know confident. What? I know that the chocolate milk and boneless wings is going to clear.
The chocolate boneless wings. What a
I'm a simple man.
What a
simple
combo.
dreams.
All your friends are like, let's go to Applebee's. I want those dollar marks. And you're like, oh, yeah, they got good
They got
chocolate.
good chocolate milk. And the dry rub boneless wings.
Oh, geez.
I used to go to Red Lobster when they had endless shrimp, but the new CEO knows math, apparently. Did you see that?
Yeah, he's like, yeah, if you do that, you
He's
lose.
like, yeah, we're not doing endless shrimp anymore because I understand how math works.
Yeah.
And we're like,
Yeah, you got to do that with a food that's harder to eat endlessly. Like, that's why
what?
it's too easy to just gorge yourself on shrimp.
Unlimited crawfish. It takes some time.
It takes too long, yeah. And people get tired, their thumbs get tired before their stomach does.
Dude.
You got to do foods like that.
Yeah. Gross.
Or do foods like Olive Garden does the salad. Do foods people don't want endlessly.
Yeah.
Do foods where people take a couple bites and
actually
like,
pretty tired
that's
of this.
enough.
Done with this.
But I appreciate the offer.
So what we're saying is that Teddy Hook would have been hooked on
Yeah, Teddy Hook would have had a problem.
sports gambling
yes.
and social media. He would have been that kid with like the dollar bills jacket and like being like, what's up, guys?
Exactly. Except for it's 1810, so things are a little different. And so instead of betting on like,
fellow pause. How are ye? Like that?
yeah, you're right. That's exactly right. He would bet on weird stuff.
Oh, he really was gambling.
It was like because he was betting on weird stuff, but it was because you couldn't bet on not weird stuff. Like there wasn't sporting events every day.
Yeah, was you just finding a bookie and betting against the mob?
So him and his friend, he had a friend by the name of Samuel Beasley.
Okay.
And he actually grew up to be an architect, and a novelist. Samuel Beasley, yeah.
Sam Beasley.
I don't know if he ever went by Sam. But yeah, he went.
Sam Beasley.
Why do you keep saying it like that?
Pam Beasley?
Oh, I mean, he could be. He was an architect, a playwright.
You think he's related
novelist.
to the fictional character Pam Beasley?
Could be. And he architected a couple famous buildings, you know. So both of these guys went on to have like fairly illustrative careers.
Sure.
But in their youth, Sam and Teddy, they would do bets with each other.
Yeah.
So easy example, Teddy bet Sam one day. He said, "Hey, I bet I could get anybody in this town to serve me dinner in their home." And so he just went and showed up at a door and pretended he knew them. And he was like, "I'm here for dinner." And then just got them to go along with it and just was really confident about it. And then made a few bucks off of it. You know, those type of bets.
Could we do that today?
I don't know. Because here's the thing.
You don't remember me?
Yeah, you could maybe do that. You could maybe do that in public.
But you couldn't get somebody to
show up at someone's
home.
doorstep. That's a capital punishment these days. You can't just show up to...
I live in Los Angeles.
You can't ring someone's doorbell anymore. If you ring someone's doorbell unannounced, you are the
I think
devil.
I think about that all the time. I think about kids can't ding dong ditch anymore because they'll literally get shot.
Yeah, you can't do that. It used to be a thing where you could just show up to someone's door. You do that nowadays and people, they ignore you. They ignore you or they fight you. It's offensive to just show up to someone's door unannounced nowadays. It's almost offensive to call someone unannounced.
I was going to say, it's offensive to show up at the door even when it's planned.
Even when it's announced.
Where you're like, oh, we did make these plans, didn't we?
You showed up?
Speaking of
I was hoping
our neighbor, if we don't answer his phone calls, will come knock on our door, and he goes to bed at like 11:30 p.m.
So I'd like,
and he doesn't understand that we don't. And my wife texted me this morning and said that he knocked on our door at 9:45 p.m. last night.
Yikes. What did he need? Just chit chat.
Just wanted to be like, hey, I'm home from my trip. Thanks for feeding my cats.
Thanks for letting us know. We knew you were coming home.
We knew that was the plan.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah, that's how flights work.
You could have sent me a text or an email.
If that flight had crashed, we probably would have heard about it.
Yeah, I bet that would have been on the news.
Yeah,
that's pretty rare.
Yeah, buddy. Anyway.
Yikes. So,
also his door. I'm almost going to tell me if I'm wrong on this. Should I call my landlord about my neighbor's door being super loud? Because like his door will shut. I mean, like it's an old door.
Is it like it creaks or is it slams?
It slams. And so he goes, and then he can't get the lock in, and the lock is super loud, right?
Yeah.
And he, leaves at like, I don't know, he's got stuff to do at 6 a.m., I guess. He gets up at 5:30, 6 a.m., and I mean,
Yeah.
should I call my landlord and be like, hey, fix that door? It's right next to our bedroom wall.
I mean, you probably could tell him to. I mean, is it the door? Or is he slamming the door?
No, it's the door for sure. Because when we feed his cats,
you can tell the landlord then.
No, I can't talk to our neighbor about it. This guy, when his fridge went out, he wanted my dad to fix the refrigerator. And it was like, just tell the landlord to get you a new fridge, man. This one's old.
I think it's the landlord.
He literally said, well, I don't want to put her out money. And I went,
my gosh.
she lives in a Malibu home. I think she can afford a new refrigerator, buddy.
Yeah, she owns this building. I think.
I don't know. Yeah. Do you understand how economics work? No.
Do you understand how much real estate costs in this city?
You don't. That's okay.
Okay, so Teddy and Sam made a bet.
Great.
And the bet was 1 guinea, which is equivalent to about $100 today.
Okay.
So about $100. It was like, I'll bet you $100 that I can make any house here in London
Give me dinner.
the talk of the town within 1 week. He
The
said,
talk of the town?
Yeah, he said everybody in town will be talking about this house in 1 week. Give me 1 week, I'll make it happen.
Okay.
And so Sam's like, that you can't. This is not going to
What are
happen.
you going to do? Blow it up?
He bombed this house. Everybody's talking about it.
Everyone's talking about that.
Everyone's talking about it.
House.
Pay up, loser.
Yeah.
So what they did is they rented a room across the street for a week.
I don't know. What do you spray paint on it? You go talk about this house.
Hey, everybody talk about this.
Like a realtor sign. Ask me about this house.
So they rented a room across the street from this house.
Okay.
They picked a house, 54 Berners Street.
Yeah.
It was a fairly well-to-do home that was like a woman lived there. She had a maid. And so that's the kind of wealth she had in 1810.
Yes.
And so they picked this house. They rented a room across the street from it on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And so that was 1 week from when they made the bet. And they were like, we're going to watch. And he's like, wait till you see how I make this the talk of the town, Sam. And so at 5 a.m. November 27th, they're sitting there in the window, they're watching, and a chimney sweep walks up to the house and knocks on the door. The maid answers the door, and he says, hey, you ordered a chimney sweep. I'm here to sweep the chimney. And the maid's like, oh, there must be some mistake.
We don't have a chimney.
We didn't order a chimney sweep.
Oh.
And he's like, oh, that's strange, but okay. And so he leaves. She sends him away. A couple minutes later, a different chimney sweep shows up at the house, knocks on the door, and says, hey, I'm the chimney sweep you ordered. I'm here to sweep the chimney. And she's like, no, we just sent one away. Actually, we don't need you guys. And he's like, oh, I don't have anything to do with that other guy. We're actually competing chimney sweeps.
Yeah.
I've been trying to beat him for years.
That's chimney sweep. I'm chimney swooped.
Could you please? Actually, it'd be really great for me if you let me sweep your chimney.
Yeah. My name is Chim Chim Chari.
And so she says, no, we don't need a chimney sweep. She sends him away. A third chimney sweep shows up. And by this point, she's getting
like,
annoyed.
you know what I wished for? This sounds like a setup for a joke. The third chimney sweep shows up.
So it ends up being a dozen chimney sweeps show up to this house, knocking on the door saying that they were contracted to sweep the chimney.
Right.
And every time she turns them away. And then after the 12th chimney sweep shows up, like clockwork, another person shows up, but this time it's not a chimney sweep. It's a delivery cart full of coal. And they're like, hey, we're here with your coal delivery. And she's like, no, didn't order any coal. And
she's starting to be like, am I at the right house today?
Did I move? What's going on?
Okay.
A dozen different carts show up one after another trying to deliver coal to this house. And then a dozen different cake makers showed up delivering wedding cakes, large, like double-decker wedding cakes, saying, we're here for the wedding cake. And then a dozen different doctors show up looking for the sick patient that they were here.
We're here to deliver the baby.
And they're like, she's like, no, there's no baby.
And they're like, there's no baby? Oh, no. They're like, no, there never was a baby. There never was a baby.
There was never a baby.
They're like,
what?
Oh,
what?
Okay.
And this goes on all day long with it was groups of dozen of all these different tradespeople. So there was the
he just 12 days of Christmas in this house on the first day of this bet. Teddy hooks into me a dozen people to sweep the chimney.
Yeah.
On the second day of this bet, Teddy hooks into me 12 bakers with a cake from the bakery.
They have that in the song. 12 bakers baking.
On the
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. If you like it, there is some great news for you. We have a mailing list. In that mailing list, we give updates on past episodes. So things in the news, things that happen for episodes. We've got over 200 episodes we've done. And every week, things are changing. New updates are coming out. And we're keeping you up to date on what's happening in the happenings of TILLN Topics. So if you want to keep learning stuff, even beyond the content of the episodes, that's a great place to do it. Also, we give updates on things that's happening in the TILLN verse. I like that. I've never said TILLN verse before, but I'm sticking with it. If you want to know what's happening in the TILLN verse, that's the best place to do it. You can go to TILLN.com. There's a link in the description, or you can text TILLN to 66866. There's a lot of ways to sign up for the mailing list to make sure you keep up to date with everything that we've talked about and everything that's going on in the TILLN verse. But anyways, now back to this episode. So it's 12 chimney sweeps, 12 coal deliveries, 12 cake makers with
13.
wedding cakes.
13 cake. It's a baker's dozen. And
gosh, I wish that he was that smart. 12 doctors, 12 lawyers, 12 priests.
12 doctors leaping.
12 priests. They were called because they were told someone's dying, and so they showed up to pray for the dying person. They're like, no one's dying here. Thank you. We'll see you later. 12 shoemakers.
What, did he just go around being like, hey, they need you?
12 fishmongers, which I think are just fish salesmen. I don't like that they call them fishmongers, though.
I'm a fishmonger.
Yeah, and so they brought all the fish with them. They had all these fish. 12 pianos were delivered to this house, like 12 grand pianos. And then there was one organ, like a full pipe organ, that these men, it took 6 men to carry this organ to the house and deliver the organ. And then what's interesting is later in the day, there was more, what's the word I'm looking for? Distinguished guests that started to show up. So the governor of the Bank of England showed up saying that he was summoned for a very important meeting to talk about an opportunity or a business opportunity or something like that. The Duke of York shows up, the Archbishop of Canterbury, and the Lord Mayor of London.
Get to these people and you go, hey.
And there was so many of these people at one point that were showing up at this house, trying to get to this house all at the same time, that it actually congested the streets of London and created, like, this is obviously before cars or anything, but a major traffic jam on Berners Street, and no one could get through because there were so many people trying to drop deliveries or do visits or whatever. Like, it was basically every type of trade in the city got summoned to this house to do whatever they do.
Yeah.
And then, so Teddy turns to Sam and he's like, look, everyone's talking about it. And then he got his $100. And that's the Berners Street Hoax. No, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet.
I was like, what are we talking about here?
Here's the...
It seems like you were done. And then when I started making a joke, you were like, I got to vamp. So the thing about this...
No, I'm not done. So here's the thing. I don't think you could do this today. Because I think this is unique to this era where you could just send off a little, I mean, it wouldn't be a postcard. It would
be a letter.
Mail, so a letter that's sealed.
And you can say, hey, we need
your
you
services
here.
are requested. I'm ordering this thing.
Yeah.
And that's what he did all week. That week, he just sent letters to people.
Stuff like this is why businesses over time have started to require payment up front.
Yeah.
Or,
they didn't require a deposit. They were just like, oh, yeah, you want an organ? We'll bring you an organ. And then you pay when we get there.
Yeah.
You want a giant wedding cake? We'll bake you a giant wedding cake.
Right.
You want half the fish we have in our store? We'll bring them.
Sure.
And so I don't know if there was any repercussions for this. It doesn't seem like it. And it doesn't seem like...
also, like... What are they gonna do? How are they gonna find out who did it?
It's probably the two kids sitting across the street laughing all day, drinking Coors.
Oh, the lawyers just showed up. Oh, you're not gonna believe who's next. You're not gonna
Wait
believe
till you see who's next.
One chimney sweep. You were 4 hours ago. You're so late.
You're so late. Is that the Archbishop of York?
10 bakers.
Where's
There's gotta be two more.
There's got to be two more somewhere. So he got doxxed after this. This is in the local paper. They put out a picture of his house, which is very interesting to me that the paper just published just a picture of his house. Like, that's how you dox someone in that day. It's like, everybody look for this house. I don't know if anything happened. I don't know if anyone delivered stuff to his house or anything like that.
I mean, on camera blowing my nose.
Yeah. But yeah, and here's a dramatization of the events that appeared in the paper. Or I guess a painting or a drawing, whatever you call it. Oh, there's people delivering coffins too.
So they posted a picture of his house and they're like, this guy did it?
Yeah. They doxed him.
Not a bad house.
But this got me thinking about another thing.
Okay.
Have you ever seen that show, Aqua Teen Hunger Force?
No.
You haven't seen this show? Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm a grown adult. What is this?
You haven't seen Aqua Teen Hunger Force? Where
I've
were
seen
you?
It. I know
Okay,
what
yeah.
it is. I've not seen any clips of it. Though.
If you don't know, Aqua Teen Hunger Force was a show on Adult Swim.
Okay.
If you don't know what Adult Swim was,
You were a good Christian.
Adult Swim was when Cartoon Network realized, oh, hey, we have a TV channel for kids and they all go to sleep at 8 o'clock. Let's just switch it over to adult stuff after the kids are supposed to be asleep. But then all the kids stayed up late and learned stuff too young.
Learned too much stuff.
Aqua Teen Hunger Force was one of their cartoons. Because that was the thing. They still did cartoons. They just were not for kids anymore. All of a sudden, it would turned over. Aqua Teen Hunger Force was one of them. And the concept of the show was, it was these three roommates and they were anthropomorphized fast food items. And so it was a thing of French fries, a meatball,
A drink.
and the beverage. And they just had their adventures.
It was like Workaholics, but it was...
Honestly, pretty much exactly Workaholics. Yes. Well, they had these characters in it called the Mooninites, which were these like weird little pixelated.
And just to be
characters.
clear, he's just a floating.
Yeah, he's a
tray
floating
of
French fry.
And you're looking at me being like, well, "You've never seen this?
Honestly,
You've never seen this incredible work of art? You've never like been interested in looking this up and watching this incredible creation? We used to make symphonies. We used to paint paintings of 12 bakers bringing cakes, and people would immortalize history through art, and now we have floating French fries on at 8:30.
Okay, so
How the art has fallen.
So the Mooninites, these guys, they were like these pixelated figures, and the story is they're aliens from the
You
moon.
gotta learn how to say that word, by the way.
Mooninite.
You've said nope.
Mooninite.
Figure.
What?
Figure.
Figure. That's how it's said. That's how I've always said it.
I know. I know that's how you've always said it. I've been trying to change you since the day we met.
So the Mooninites were aliens from the moon. They lived deep within the moon. They're these little pixelated, and they were made out of Mooninite. Was like fictional material. And
it's figure. It's not like Tommy Hilfiger.
That's exactly how I say that, actually.
I know that's how you say it. That's why I'm telling you.
Tommy Hilfiger.
You say figure.
Tommy Hilfiger? That's not what that is.
I know. It's Hilfiger.
Yeah, exactly.
The word is figure.
I know, it's figure.
Okay.
So the Mooninites were characters in the show.
Sure.
And in 2007, they put together a movie, a feature-length film. The Mooninites were central characters in the film.
Okay.
And their promotion for this movie was pretty funny. They did a couple things. One of the things that they did that I actually love as a promo is for the announcement for the movie, instead of rolling a bunch of previews and stuff like that, they rolled the whole movie on Adult Swim, but they rolled it in the bottom left corner of the screen while other stuff was playing, and it was just a tiny frame of the movie with no sound. They just rolled the whole movie there, and they rolled it like 3 times that night. and everyone's like, "What is this in the bottom corner?" And it was the movie.
Just the whole movie.
It was the whole movie.
Okay.
Another thing they did is they made these little light brights of the Mooninites.
Okay.
And they took these light brights of the Mooninites. These are the writers.
I can't see the TV.
Show.
Okay, because it looked like that, and then it looked like Jaron from Subway from where
Actually,
I was
he
sitting.
does look like Jaron.
And I was like, wait, what?
And so these Mooninites, what they did is they distributed these to cities across America, and they hid them like little public art installations.
Sure.
So here's an example in Boston of the Mooninite just on a support beam up there. Just a little Mooninite sitting there on the support beam up above the streets of Boston.
Sure.
Here's the thing. This is 2007. And this is in the middle of, I shouldn't say the middle, but like near the end of like the if you see something, say something era. You know what I'm talking about? Like post 9/11, there was this if you see something, say something. So you're supposed to report anything you think looks suspicious.
Okay.
In case it's terrorists.
Sure.
And so someone
was like, these are terrorists.
To be totally fair, this pixel art thing, if you don't see it from up close, you see it on a support beam on a bridge.
Looks like terrorism.
And you don't watch Aqua Teen Hunger Force enough to recognize the weird pixelated characters that don't show up in every episode. And you see this, you're like, what's that? Especially in like the heightened terrorism era we were in, where everyone was afraid of it.
Were they afraid of terrorism?
Yes.
Or were they afraid of...
Yeah. Well, I mean, who's to say?
Racism was at a pretty high point in the 2000s.
So on January 31st, 2007, someone reported this to the police.
January 1st?
January 31st.
31st.
January 31st, 2007. Someone reported this to the police. And immediately the Boston police took this very seriously. And they called in the bomb squad. And they shut down half the city. And because these were all over the city, they started finding out. And so this hit the news.
Oh, geez.
This hit the news, and bomb squads and state police are going around removing these little Mooninite light brights.
Which are flipping you off, by the way. The picture is a middle finger.
They are. And so because of that, in the news reports, because this thing is flipping you off, all of the news stations that were reporting this were blurring out the whole thing. So nobody was actually seeing this. One of the things everyone said is had they not blurred this out,
this would have been amazing.
Someone would have immediately...
This would have been incredible advertising.
This would have
been incredible advertising.
But someone would have wrote in or called in and been like,
said,
hey, that's a character from a show. Like, chill out. But nobody knew. Nobody knew what it was because they were blurring it out. So it became this mass panic. Everybody in Boston thought they were in the middle of a terror attack and bombs had been planted.
Which I don't know if you've seen how competent the Boston Police Department is. But if you watch the documentary about them trying to find the Boston Marathon bombers, did you watch that piece?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
And did you watch that? So one of the bombers hides in someone's boat. And the police walk past that boat, I don't know, 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And like they're like have their dogs out and they're like, we can't find him, we can't find this guy. And he's just hiding in this boat that they've walked past 10,000 times.
Yeah.
And so finally at the end of the night, they're like, maybe we should check that boat we've walked past 25,000 times. And sure enough, they had him on like the heat camera.
Well, they also shot the boat about 1,000 times.
That's true. They did shoot the boat.
I think they heard something or saw something, and then someone jumped, and it was literally like 1,000 rounds
unloaded
on
that
boat. Insane.
But it really was not. The documentary does not make them look good at
copping.
Solving crimes.
So they actually detonate 2 of these in the controlled detonations. And
you mean they blew it up?
Yeah, the bomb squad came out and they set explosives on it
and then
controlled detonation.
let's say you're in the marketing department for this, and suddenly you've set off a citywide panic in Boston.
Yeah.
When in this process do you call and go, hey?
Well, that's the thing. they were blurring these out. So not even the Adult Swim people knew that it was their stuff because it was blurred.
Oh, wow. These LED fixtures popped up. This terrorist LED fixtures pop up the same day that our LED campaign rolls out. Oh, what bad luck on our part, huh?
Bad luck.
The heck do you mean?
So this obviously becomes a huge scandal.
Yeah.
It's all over the news all day long. Gosh, I forgot his name again. Shepard Smith on Fox News is raging about it all day long. It's like his favorite thing to rage about all day long.
Yeah, this makes sense.
And
this would really get Fox News.
And at
those people would see this and they go, "Ah!"
They actually, Shepard Smith was reporting that it was SpongeBob. They said that this guy was SpongeBob. And they said someone put SpongeBob signs
that
up.
It is what Shepard had a very distinct, like, sharp way of speaking. It's because his face couldn't move from the Botox. But he'd be like, and tonight no, that's not good. I'll find it later.
Yeah. Someone writes in and explains it to Fox News. Yeah. And so later that night, they issue a correction saying that it was from the show Aqua Teen Hunger Force. And so he had to explain what the character was live on air and be like, this was never a bomb. Like, this was all just a big misunderstanding.
Sure.
It was a marketing campaign. And you can actually hear in the
background.
Sorry for
the last 8 hours of our coverage of this being a bomb. Sorry to get you all worked up. Turns out, it's just marketing for the Adult Swim channel, something I've never heard of.
For the Adult Swims. Well, you could actually hear when he makes that correction live on air in the background, people laughing at him on set at Fox News, which I love so much. But yeah, it became a big thing. They put out Adult Swim put out shirts years later. They didn't.
Shepard Smith on them?
No, I wish. But years later, they put out shirts that said 13107, never forget, and it had the Mooninite on it, and they were selling those. As a response, though, Turner Broadcasting owns Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
And they actually responded, and they fired the head of Cartoon Network because they were like, "Yeah, you need to step down." Like that, this happened. I should say he stepped down, but he got fired. Yeah. We all know how that stuff works. Yeah. And he issued a public statement, and he says, "I'm sorry that this happened on my watch. Like I should have been more prepared, right. and I claim responsibility for the panic that this campaign caused." And they actually pulled the movie. They didn't release it because a central part of the movie was Boston. So it never released, which is crazy. So he steps down, and a lot of people say that was
when Cartoon Network.
The end of the golden era of Cartoon Network. Because it really was like that early 2000s. They were pumping out some great stuff.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it changed, and they're like, it was because that head stepped down. So the bombs didn't kill anyone.
Bombs killed everybody. Honestly, if I had it my way, no one in Boston would have survived that.
Honestly, here's the thing. This was the height of Tom Brady. And had they been successful with these Mooninite bombs...
Are you saying that Cartoon Network was conspiring against the New England Patriots?
Yeah, they were targeting them.
They're like, I can't keep getting away with this.
Yeah, it was all en route to their commute.
Yeah. And instead, they just deflated a couple of the balls. And framed Tom Brady for that.
Yeah, it was the second best.
That was the CEO. This is on record. The CEO of Cartoon Network framed Tom Brady. Put that on the internet.
All right, cool.
That's crazy. 12 fiddlers off, huh?
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. If you liked it, you should check out another one, the Richmond TV Vigilante. Similar to how Teddy liked to show up at doors where he wasn't invited, there was a guy in Richmond, Virginia who showed up and dropped a bunch of TVs at people's doors in the middle of the night. It was a crazy story. Definitely go check that episode out. And hey, if you want next week's episode right now, you can sign up to be a member. All you got to do is go to TILLN.com/support. And you can start supporting our show. You get a lot of different benefits, but one of those benefits is you get to watch every episode a week early, ad ad-free. So make sure you go do that and support our show. We really appreciate it. And Things I Learned Last Night is a proud member of the Evergreen Podcast Network. You can find out more about them and all their different shows at evergreenpodcasts.com. We'll see you next week on Things I Learned Last Night.